loved teaching dance more than I loved being in a hospital. And then, yeah, in the end, I just decided it wasn't for me.
There's no right or wrong way to live life, to pivot, to make decisions, to go on and to be and to do.
And I just did what I loved, and it evolved. And I think that's everybody's story in the whole book. Everybody's just rolled with what they love.
Welcome to the Spotlight series, season 2 of the Showbiz Side Hustle Podcast, where each week we meet one of the brilliant co-authors and creatives behind Spotlight on Success, the PerformerPreneur book that's redefining what success looks like both in and out of the showbiz spotlight. I'm your host here, Nicole-Louise Geddes, and in these special episodes, we learn even more about the stories behind the sequins. Raw, honest, powerful reminders that the end of one act is only the beginning of another. So listen in as we chat challenges and triumphs and inspire you to shine in any spotlight you like. Welcome to another episode of the Spotlight series, where we shine a light on the inspiring authors behind the stories. Today is the turn of Kitty Campari, a former doctor in training turned professional circus and burlesque performer, business coach, and founder of the successful Showgirl. Her journey from burnout to bold reinvention is filled with glitter, grit, and game-changing insight. In her chapter titled "It's Never Too Late to Go After Your Dreams," Kitty does exactly that. She shares how she dared to leave behind a traditional career path to embrace a life of feathers, sequins, and freedom at the age of 30, and going on to build a thriving business that empowers others to get booked, get paid, and take center stage as a professional performer. Honestly, this is more than a story of chasing dreams. It's a masterclass in transformation and permission to live life out loud. Let's welcome the fabulous, fearless Kitty Campari to the Spotlight series and hear more about her incredible journey.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Kitty, and welcome. I'm so excited to have you on the pod today. We've read the book, we know more about you than ever, but we're going to dive even further into that story. So let's start with that huge revelation that you were, in fact, on the path to becoming a doctor.
Yeah, so I went to medical school for 5 years and I graduated, but during that time, I was already a dance teacher. I was already teaching dance and I was using it to pay for my uni. And then as time crept on and it was coming closer to getting jobs and I had to start quitting some of my dance jobs that I'd had for years because I was working shifts, I started to realise more and more that I loved teaching dance more than I loved being in a hospital. And then, yeah, in the end, I just decided it wasn't for me and I was going to pursue being a dance teacher originally.
Amazing. And so many people can relate to that, I guess, because we're told from an early age, the traditional 9 to 5 route, some of these really incredible professions like doctor, solicitor, lawyer, all of those things, they are the answer to fulfillment, right? They're the key to success. And so you told us about in the story in the book, you turned that on its head, you were doing that and it just wasn't for you. So give us a little bit more, in a nutshell, your core message for the readers.
So my core message really is that, one, it's never too late to follow your dreams, but two, also you don't have to listen to other people's version of what success is. You can be successful in your own right. When I was at college and I was already a dance teacher, I remember the careers advisor telling me that I could never make any money out of dancing, and that's why I went on to waste 5 years of my life at medical school, when in fact I've made a massive career out of dance, teaching dance, training other people to dance. That was the limiting belief, not mine. And so my advice would be just not to listen to other people and to follow your dream, not theirs.
Many of the chapters in this book are going the other way around. They're starting as a performer and then they're exiting the industry and they're doing other things, finding new spotlights, becoming a different version of themselves using these skills. You have also done that. You're a very brilliant, multi-passionate entrepreneur. But I think it's interesting for the listeners to remember and hear from yourself that your performing career started much later on than most. Can you give me a bit of background about that?
So I never really wanted to be a performer, or I didn't think I wanted to be a performer. I always loved teaching dance. That was my thing. I ran a studio for about 10 years after I graduated from uni. And I loved it. But it was only when I started getting towards 30 that I started thinking, I'd love to perform. I've never really performed properly. And I went to I did a charity show actually. So basically I had a bit of a midlife crisis when I was about 30, and I started going to aerial hoop and aerial stilts classes. And Jess Hill, who's also in the book, ran those classes, and she put on like a charity show, and I performed my aerial stuff in the charity show. And whilst I was at that show, I watched this burlesque performer, and I remember thinking, I could do that. I easily could do that. I know I could. And I was a bit drunk at the time and had a bottle of wine. And then I got home and I decided that I was going to do it. And I just gave myself a performer name and started like sending out job applications. And then literally a month later, I had a residency in a cabaret club, and it just all went from there, really.
It's incredible. Do you mind me asking how old you are now, Kitty?
I'm 39 now. I'm 40 in November.
So just because I think that gives context to this story, doesn't it? 30, you made that decision. Age were you when you made the decision to pivot from doctor to full-time dance teacher?
23.
So that first big pivot was 23. Then, you carry on, you're building businesses at this point as a principal of performing arts schools, dance schools, circus schools, and all the rest of it that we'll talk about shortly. And then at 30, you think, hold on a minute, there's more to me than just this. And you pivot again and become a performer. And now, nearing 40, I know, because we work together through PerformerPreneur, I know that you've built other businesses since then. And so you have pivoted again, and you've created more opportunity for other people, this time with the successful showgirl. So at what age did that pivot, that progression happen?
That kind of happened at 35. That was more of a COVID thing. Like, obviously, we all realised in COVID that if you do a face-to-face job, dance teaching was my main job, performing was my second main job. Neither of those you can do if something happens. So I created an online job that I could do if there was ever anything that like COVID that happened again, where I wouldn't be able to do those kind of jobs. And that was really lucky for me, because a few years later I got pregnant unexpectedly, and obviously I couldn't be performing, I couldn't be hanging upside down teaching because I've got a little one now. So that those businesses kind of developed because of that. It was more a COVID thing, but as like time's gone on and I've got older and I've become a mum, it's become more and more valuable to have multiple income streams, not just the others. And I can still perform now, but I don't have to take every single job. I can take the jobs that I want and that suit my lifestyle, and I can say no to the ones that I don't want to do.
It's so inspiring. I mean, you know that I tout this message all the time. Like, come on, people, get some multi-revenue streams, do some other things, make money different ways, use your creativity to build businesses, to build side hustles, to build stability. And you are absolutely smashing this. The Successful Showgirl is a training program for amateurs wanting to turn professional at any stage of their life. So your message and that's just so important. And you speak about that in the book, how you didn't feel that you had that support back in the early days of performing yourself.
Yeah, I feel like anybody who's coming into the business as a new performer, there's very much like a cliqueiness with performers that are already in the industry, and nobody really wants to give away their secrets of how they got there or how they've become successful. They want to help people, but only to a certain point. They don't want to help them in so much that they become a threat. And I just really disliked that whole way of doing things. I just wanted to be honest and tell people, like, these are things that you need to do. And if that makes my clients be people that are my competitors as well, then great. Then I either need to step my game up or appreciate that I've done a really, really good job. I don't want to be the kind of person who like gatekeeps people's success to maintain my own success. Does that make sense?
It makes
so yeah, I set it up. I just got sick of people gatekeeping it for new performers, and I'm a teacher at heart. Like I am a performer, but I will always be a teacher. I've been a teacher for over 20 years, and the teacher in me wants to see people do well. Like that's what I get job satisfaction from. Like I love being on a stage, but the real job satisfaction I get is watching other people do well. So I've just kind of really combined the two things that I'm good at to create one business.
And that leads me really nicely onto one of the questions. Let me just scroll down the list. It's here. We talk a lot about purpose, yeah, within the book, within Performerpreneur. The book is even titled, Spotlight on Success When Passion Meets Purpose. And I think you've just said there what I believe to be true, that you have a purpose all along and it grows with you, it evolves, it changes. But at the core of it, your purpose is there, and you might not know what it is to start with, but once you realize it, once it's ignited, it then helps to ebb and flow through all of the different avenues. So would you say your purpose is exactly what you've just said, that kind of supporting, helping, teaching, helping others to grow, sharing?
Yeah, I think like my purpose is to empower other people, particularly women. Like that is the theme through all of my businesses. I also run a dance instructor training business, and in that business, I train dance instructors, but I also teach them on a business side as well, so that they can run their own businesses independently. They can have financial freedom. They can have more time freedom to spend with their kids. And I think for me, I'm really passionate about teaching people that you can be financially free and empowering them to go out and do those things, whether that's as a performer, whether that's running their own business, whether that's me teaching them how to create a passive income, whatever it is, just that empowerment of letting people know that I did it and I was never from a performing background or a business background. I went to be a doctor and I still managed to do it. I'm a mum now, so can you. I think that is my main purpose, the empowerment side of everything.
Right back at the beginning, you were empowering those children with the dance school and
Yeah.
that as well. And we're all taught, again, when you transition out of performing or you build a business in the performing arts, teaching children is such a rewarding avenue to go down. But again, it just shows that it can keep evolving. You keep growing, the spotlight can keep changing. Having read the other chapters, Kitty, in the book, and knowing the other collaborators now and knowing their stories, do you see the patterns? I see the patterns. Do you see the patterns? And what are they to you?
Yeah, I think a lot of the patterns are, a lot of people have been told that they'll never make any money out of the thing that they love, so they've tried to do other things, and then they always come back to what they're passionate about. And they've creative people will come up with creative ways to make that passion work. It doesn't have to be like a set road like you would go along if you were going to uni and then you were going to do like a normal job. It can be up and down and all over the show, but it just evolves and it becomes different things. Like for me, when I set out with opening a dance studio, I never ever thought I'd become a performer, and I certainly never thought I'd be coaching professional performers. And then I definitely didn't think I'd have like multiple businesses, and that was not my intention. I just did what I loved, and it evolved. And I think that's everybody's story in the whole book. Everybody's just rolled with what they love, and they've evolved into like amazing businesses.
They certainly have. I've been posting frequently through social media in my email list talking about you all, and I keep using the word brave and bold. And I just see it in all of the people, myself included, the ones that are, not stopping. They just keep pushing, keep exploring, keep evolving, keep being excited about the different opportunities. And some of them don't work, right?
Yeah, they don't. Like some things you'll be doing for ages, and then you've just got to realize that that's not working anymore. Or it might have worked for a bit and then it doesn't work anymore, and you've got to evolve again. But I think for people like us, that is like the thrill of it. It is exciting. Like if we were doing something where it was stable all the time, oh, I know full well I would like be totally bored if I did a stable job. So I actually kind of like the roller coaster of having to change and having to pivot and having to evolve, and things not working sometimes, things do work the other times. I think that's the thrill.
Now knowing your story, Kitty, the listeners might be questioning, like, it's all right for Kitty. She tried the stable career and, you have a definitive, this doesn't work for me answer. But I mean, 5 years to put into medical school seems a bit drastic. So I want to just say to the listeners, like, if you haven't got that kind of complete understanding that it isn't for you, just listen to your gut. Is there at any point back then, Kitty, that you wish you took action sooner?
Um, no, like I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I did actually find medical school really interesting. I met some of my like best friends at medical school. I think it taught me a lot in terms of like how to communicate with people, which has like done me well in my career in lots of other ways. I'm glad I finished it. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I finished it. I'm glad I can also say that I'm not some airhead who dances, and because that's what people assume you are when you're a performer. They don't take you seriously as a business person. But I've actually got a medical degree behind me as well. Like, I'm glad that I did all those things. It just took me a little bit longer to get to my dream than it would have done if I'd not done it. But I still learned a lot from it, I think.
I love that. That is such an important message. And I'm thrilled that you feel like that. And actually, yeah, I think you're 100% right. We're where we're meant to be when we're there, and there'll be lessons to learn from it. There's no point in regret, is there? So yeah, so excuse the question, and I love the answer. Like, there's no point looking back and wondering what could and what should. Taking the lessons, taking the experience and using it to build on, to push through, to do even more is incredible and incredibly empowering to hear as well. How has being part of the book, being part of the collaborator community, the launch, all of those things, how has that made you feel just in general, and how has it helped make you mold and plan the next bits of your businesses as well?
I've loved it. I honestly thought it'd be so difficult to write my chapter. So like when we were having all the um meetings and stuff at the beginning, I was like always watching them on catch up because I was at college at the same time. And I just kept thinking, oh God, I'm not gonna know where to start. And I swear I wrote the whole chapter in one day. I literally just sat down and started writing, and then I couldn't stop. It was like it just like flowed out of me. Um so yeah, I think it was like really therapeutic, but also it kind of like consolidated everything that I've done over these past few years. Like storytelling is something that we've touched on loads in PerformerPreneur, and I use it loads in my business, telling my story. And it really just was putting that story that I tell constantly, but into words for other people to read. So yeah, I feel like it just brought everything together that we've done over such a long time. And it's lovely like reading other people's stories. Some of the people in the book were in my group from the beginning. Some of the people in the book were people that I've took lessons with. Like Jess has bought my business, one of my businesses now. Like we're all interlinked in some way, and it's just really nice to read everyone else's story and see where they've come from, because you see the finished product. Like people in my community now will see that I've been a performer and I coach them now, but they won't have seen like when I was starting out, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, or when I was a dance teacher, like however many years ago, or even when I was like a medical student. They don't know any of that, you as that person. So yeah, I think it's just really good to hear everybody's story from how they've evolved into what they do now.
I spoke about this with a few of the other authors that I've already had the interviews with, and I've expressed, the reason that I was so passionate about bringing this book to life is because although the stories are all different, although the journeys are all different, the message is the same. And you've said it already, like we can do and be anything. We can take our past and turn it into a future of our dreams. There's no right or wrong way to live life, to pivot, to make decisions, to go on and to be and to do. And I just don't feel I could have shouted that message. I mean, I was bloody well trying, excuse my language, to shout that message on my own. Because I want the ripples in the industry. I want people to know and feel the things that we know are achievable or exciting. So to bring 14 of us together to all share our stories, but also empower that there's no right or wrong way to do this, feels really magical to me.
Yeah, I think it's really important as well for performers to understand that you need a business head to do well, even as a performer. Like if you're not business savvy, you're not going to be successful to your full potential as a performer. So you can use that business head that you've got on you, that you've learned as a performer, and you can pivot and you can have all these extra little side businesses so that you've got a backup. I think we definitely don't push the business side of being a performer enough in our industry and give enough respect to how important that is. you only have to see that from students that come out of uni and have got no business knowledge about how they need to like sell themselves, or how they need to, the legalities of the things that they need to have in place. I used to employ students who came out of uni to work at my dance school, and they didn't have a clue about the things that they needed. The same with performers. When you've got an industry, an agency, you'll know because you've got an agency, you'll get new performers straight out of college. They've not got a clue that they need insurance and all things like that. I just think if we allowed performers to step into being business people as well, then they could thrive in like so many other areas too. And I think that's what this book shows, because everyone's got such a different business. It shows that those business skills can be used across the board. It doesn't matter what you choose to do, but if you actually focus on them from the beginning and use them in your career, then when you decide that you can't perform anymore, you don't want to perform anymore, then you can use them on a different path, and that can be just as successful.
And you're so good at taking those new amateur, just exiting college, those performers with, you know, with like the headlights in their eyes, just like, what is this? You're so good at taking them under your wing, showing them the ways, and helping them to develop their acts, their confidence, their business knowledge. And then fast forward a few years when they're transitioning and they're exiting, you know, come and join PerformerPreneur, and let's just make sure you've got the community and support and the serious side hustle element that's going to take you and your business knowledge to the next level. So, and this is another thing that I spout on about all the time: collaboration. Like, find the people that are going to support, encourage, that think the same. You know, no one's doing exactly what we said time and time again. Nobody's doing the exact same carbon copy of life, performing, business building, coaching. Everyone's got their own nuances and niches. And by coming together, we're offering the reader so much advice that you can't get from one person, Kitty.
Yeah, that's true. Like, everybody's got a different life experience. Everybody's got different problems that they've had to overcome over time, and only they will have learned those lessons from those obstacles. And yeah, you're never going to get that from one person. It is important to, even outside of the book, when you're training or when you're being mentored, it's important to have like lots of different mentors, not just one person. You need to hear lots of different people's input, because your path is your path. You can't just follow somebody else's path and think that it'll work. It might be successful for them, but you've got to make your mind up and listen to everybody else's and create your own. I think that's really important for people to understand.
And I think and we're going on a real tangent here, but with with AI becoming quite prolific now, people probably do feel that they can do these things on their own. They probably can follow a set of, tasks that chat gives you. It's not bad advice that you get from AI, but have you got a human in your corner? Have you got somebody that's lived it, that breathes it, that understands it, that supports you, to cheer you? And so that's kind of the next step, I think, for all of us in this industry. Like, there's going to be ways to get this information. You can read the book. You can ask ChatGPT, you can never say it. You can, but go find the people that are there, the humans that can bring that human element to it and support you properly. So that, again, a little tangent, but something that's been playing on my mind recently. I think there's so much we can do, or think we can do on our own, but actually
it's not about the knowledge though, is it? Like, ChatGPT can give you the knowledge. Anyone can give you the knowledge. You can go on YouTube and find the knowledge. It's not about that. It's about being able to be inspired by people who, like, ChatGPT can't tell you what it's like to keep going in your career when you've had a bereavement, or when you become a mom, or when someone divorces you. Like, ChatGPT can't tell you that. Like, only lived experience of people who've been through it can. And I feel like you have to surround yourself with people who've done it and have been through bad times, who can then tell you how they've overcome obstacles, so that you can, like, anybody can get the knowledge from anywhere, but you can't necessarily get support from anywhere. ChatGPT can't support you. It's not the same thing as a person or multiple people. Even better, like a community like yours is multiple people having an input, because everybody's, again, experience of one thing, let's say a bereavement, is different for 10 different people. So you need to have different people's input of how you're going to cope through hard times and good times as well. And yeah, I think you need people to support you. And you are the sum of like the 5 people around you. So if you've not got good people around you, you're just using ChatGPT, you're going to start sounding like a robot after a while, aren't you? You need to have real life human communications.
Well, we can all see those prompts and those things coming to life on the internet now as well, quite prolifically. Having built so many successful businesses over the years, where is your entrepreneurial journey heading next, Kitty?
For me, I think I'm very much focused on running my instructor training course and helping the people within that to build their own businesses that's growing. I've also like ventured into creating my own software for dance-based businesses where people will be able to buy that software and it'll be all done for you, how to email market, how to set up your own website, how to set up marketing funnels, Facebook ads and things like that. So that's like my current thing that I'm working from. But for me, it's more focusing on the businesses that I've got and making them as passive as possible so that I can spend as much time with my little girl as possible. And getting back to performing. I'm getting back to performing now as well and just doing like a couple of gigs a month, and I'm just enjoying having a chill lifestyle, let my business run themselves and dressing up in some sparkly costumes again, like I've always loved to do.
I love that. Joy. You said the word joy. It's one of the big words in my kind of vision board, in my ethos. Like whatever brings you joy, make sure you inject a little bit of that. So if it's 2 times a month performing, it might grow to 5, 6, 7. You might actually knock it on the head of one day. Who knows? But do what actually brings you joy in this moment. Those business building blocks sound really exciting, and I will be cheering you on every step of the way. Kitty, this book is one of 2. I am bringing out the opportunity for the listeners to step up and apply to be part of book number 2, with the same kind of idea that collectively our message is going to be braver, louder, bolder, received further, all of that. What would you tell anyone listening about the experience? Why do you think it's something that they should consider? And just a little bit of encouragement to get these people to believe that they could do this too.
I've definitely learned a lot. I never thought I'd be able to write a book. Like I always got told by my English teacher that I was rubbish at English, and like it's been, for me, I felt like it's been a really easy, like therapeutic process. It's just been really nice to be part of the community, and I just think it's nice to tell your story. Like to be able to say that you've written a book is something that like people will have dreamed of from being a kid. I would go for it. If you've ever wanted to write a book, then this is like your perfect opportunity. There's so much guidance and help, and you literally can't get it wrong. It's just a really good way of going about it. So I would highly recommend it if people are wanting to ever write a book. This was a great stepping stone into potentially doing their own as well, isn't it?
Yes, into a full book, because I've done that. Woo, that's hardcore. This is, let's not dampen it down. It feels easy because it's our own story, but the process and the time you have to put into it, you have to commit. But yeah, that whole big book is incredibly hard in comparison. Although I feel like you've got a whole book in you, Kitty.
I feel like I would like to write a book. Like I've always said that I've wanted to write a book, and I've had a title for it for like a few years, so maybe potentially down the line, then yeah, I think I would like to do that. But yeah, I've really enjoyed writing this chapter. Originally, I was only meant to be doing a short chapter, and then I couldn't keep my mouth shut, could I? I had to keep going, so I had to extend my chapter. So yeah, probably I've got a book in me somewhere.
You definitely have, and a really interesting, empowering one as well. Kitty, it's probably worth mentioning that you've just said Kitty is a spotlight chapter in the book. There's 4 spotlights. They got a few more words, well, a few thousand more words to really delve deeper into their story. And then there's some success chapters that are half the length. And if you come into this project number 2, you get the choice. Do you want to tell the whole story, or do you just want to skim across that and just focus on the success? Kitty was brave and bold enough to tell her whole story. And if you haven't read it yet, please do go over to Amazon and buy the Spotlight on Success book, either on Kindle or in paperback, and read Kitty's story along with 13 other authors, including myself, to get a real insight into all of the different ways that you can be successful at any point in your life, really. I say after you exit stage left, after you exit the stage door, but Kitty's, she's doing it the other way around. She's still performing. So there really is no stopping you at any point. Kitty, what would you like to end this podcast with? Gift the listeners any of your wisdom. And also, ladies and gents, remember, Kitty's businesses will be in the show notes below as well.
I think my main message is, one, you're never too old to follow your dream, whether you've been doing something for like 40 years, 50 years, whatever. If it's like niggling away inside of you, you should go and do it. And my second thing would be, don't let other people tell you what you can and you can't do. That's, if they say you can't do it, that's because they can't. It's not because you can't. You should just do what makes you happy, and good things will come from that. I truly believe that.
I've got goosebumps. Good things will come from that. Kitty is living proof. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, Kitty.
Thanks for having me.
There you have it. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Spotlight series, where stories shine and success gets redefined. If you loved what you heard, hit like, follow, or subscribe. And be sure to grab your copy of Spotlight on Success over on Amazon. And don't forget to tag us at PerformerPreneur across all socials. If you've been inspired today to step into a new spotlight, you can find a whole community ready to support you at performerpreneur.co.uk, as well as up-and-coming events and even more about each author. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and continue to shine.